Hey, how you guys doing? Michael X. So the Leopard 1 medium tank full review. It's been a long time in the making. I've actually had this, I think it was actually my fourth tier 10 that I got. But I really didn't like the entire line when I first went down it. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it's very hard to bounce anything with this vehicle. Now you can actually bounce some stuff, which I'll show you guys how you can bounce it. But the Leopard 1 is a modern vehicle. It's a very fast vehicle, and it's really cool looking. It's kind of like the Porsche of tanks, if you ask me. It's got mirrors, it's got lights, it's got just cool stuff. It looks really cool. I believe it has 2 motors in it. I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah. So it has 830 horsepower. It does 65 forward, 23 in reverse, 10% chance of engine fire, which is pretty good, and it actually achieves that 65. So 8.69 reload time, aim time is 1.9, accuracy is 0.30. Max range 720, max elevation 20 degrees, max gun depression 9, which makes it a competitor with the Patton now. And in that hull down position, you can actually bounce shots, which is pretty cool. Ground resistance is pretty good. Yeah, view range is 410, 750 on the radio range. And the ammunition is shoots APCR standard for 263 millimeters of pin for a 390 alpha damage. Heat as your secondary for 330 for 390, and of course HE that can pin 53 millimeters for 480, which is pretty good. So looking at the armor on this is just, there's really nothing to see. The main thing is to use its speed and maneuverability and good accuracy to basically stay ahead of the enemy. You really do need to kind of sit back like a sniper slash light tank. You can play this tank in about 3 different roles, but it's not really the best in any of them. When fully aimed in, you can get some good shots off, but on flat ground you guys can see that there's really nothing that, I mean, light tanks at tier 6 can pin you. So I'm going to go ahead and say, if you see a light tank, don't go head to head with him, because he'll pin you everywhere he shoots you. And if he can get circling you, although you are fast, your front plate can't stop him from pinning you. So you're best off sniping him from a distance, which sounds funny that a medium tank should be weary of light tanks, but this is one of them. But in the 9 gun depression, so if you're in the max gun depression, you guys can see here that you get almost 300 millimeters of armor right here. So if you just pop out and you have your gun out there, everywhere that you're looking right here will bounce shots. Which, you know, sometimes if it's a tank destroyer or something, you know, you're probably just going to want to go over, aim in, let your reticle go and fire, and then back off before he hits you. So this was my highest recorded damage. Most of my best games in this tank were in losing games. Now, keep in mind that when I was doing this, it was during some of the op. And when you're doing any kind of op, monster ops, well, let's just face it, you know, there's just a lot of competition. So this is actually a platoon game, as you guys can see. We got 2 bat chats, a Leopard 1. So the new 9 gun depression is what really makes this tank come into its own. Because, I mean, having 9 gun depression is amazing, but it doesn't make the tank super OP. Like I said, it can't block rounds unless it's in that area. So you know, look at how fast we're doing, and I'm actually turning and moving, rotating. You guys can see it here. Now, I have a bunch more games. I'm going to show you guys the losing games. And, of course, if you guys are watching this, hopefully you guys watched me grinding for it, which is where I take my best videos. So here's me kind of playing like a light tank. If there was more vehicles over there, I probably would have took some damage. But he backed off. If it was just me over here, I wouldn't recommend going out by yourself. As you guys can see, I'm in a platoon. I'm staying with the faster medium tanks. Try not to knock over any bushes, because if artillery does hit you, even if it's a glancing blow, it will take half your health. So just think about that. You only have 1950. So long range shots, I'm going to say, although this gun is super, super accurate, it can actually cause you to be over aggressive, because sometimes your accuracy can actually make you inaccurate. And what I mean by that is that you can shoot a bottom plate, but you have to sit out a little bit longer to do that. So a lot of times I'll let my reticle get to 3/4 and fire, like you guys see me there. So at this point I realized that the tanks that are over there I'm really no competition for, but I can go ahead and still get shots on them, but from a different location if I'm fast enough. So that's basically what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and back up the left flank. Seeing the T-57 heavy and also getting hit by the other guy, I'm not half health. I mean, I still have 1700, so I'm still effective. You know, it's not like I'm a one-shot anymore. So I'm kind of creeping around the map here. You guys can see there's a WZ there. Like I said, be wary of light tanks if you're playing this. And I'll just say, in my experience, this is not a tournament tank. I mean, I'm sure it could be played in comps, but I'm going to say that it would just be like something that you would play as an odd tank to throw into the mix, but anything can pin it. Most of the time, if you're in a group, you will be the first that they shoot at, because they know that they can pin you with their standard shells. So it's something you got to be careful of, and you can use that to your advantage, because a lot of people get fixated on you. You can see that I'm not actually spotted anymore, and I'm able to make super long range shots. Now, as far as I know, this is the only tank left besides the E50M that has this kind of long range accuracy, which I'm pretty sure they're going to nerf it at some point. They've been nerfing all the you know, the tanks that can actually, you know, that are fast, because they're OP and all that, but they're really not. I mean, you can only use this tank, like, if you get this tank on mines or on, you know, Ghost Town. Ghost Town, at least you can kind of snipe on the left and right alleyways, but if you're getting this on you know, on smaller maps, you're gonna get absolutely trashed. You'll be lucky if you fire 3 pins, and all you're gonna be doing is trading your hit points. Now, I've seen people do good on Hemmelsdorf. I've even had some really good games, but they were luck games, meaning like they just happened to not be paying attention. They wanted to get the heavies out instead of me, and that worked out for me. So like I said, some of my best games that I had during this were actually in losing battles, which happens a lot, you know. But I will say that you can easily get 5,000 damage in this tank if you play it right. You know, if you're following those the 10 rules that I've put down a long time ago with the help of a Zaire. You know, using those rules with this tank is probably your best bet, which is to always be in a position of advantage. As you guys seen, I was on the left side hill, giving support over there and shooting at and helping out my friends. And now I jumped over to back where we started at, and I'm now getting long range shots and keeping them away from our you know, well, from the H line. This is an attack and defend. In normal situations, though, I could keep people off the cap. And it's kind of funny because these people are actually playing like there is a cap over here. And I thought it was kind of funny, you know, seriously, like looking at it back, and I was like, why are they doing that? It does have decent pin too. So, you know, 263 is about the same as a bat chat, but you get pinpoint accuracy. Now, I'm going to say that that does vary. Obviously, you're gonna miss shots here and there. Sometimes there's lag, sometimes there's other stuff. Firing on the move is not good at all, not at long range. But you can make shots on sides of tanks, you know, at half reticle pretty consistently. But I'm going to say I wouldn't recommend it. And, yeah. So the platoon has gotten killed. And I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, when you play the bat chat, you know, it's a very aggressive tank. you can't really play it like this because you can't really, you know, get in a hull down position because there's, I mean, even if you did, it's only 30 millimeters. So I'm going for targets that I know I can pin. That guy that I just shot at is a primary target. And you can see that this is why I carry 12 heat. Because at the very end of the game, when people are low health, that's when people's armors actually works. And they get crazy RNG. So in order to defeat that, sometimes you got to fire some heat. And a lot of people will disagree. But I'm going to go ahead and say that that last shot that I fired would have never pinned if it was standard. And I would have had to have gotten a lot closer, leaving me open to losing half my health or even getting one-shotted by the T-49. So I'm going to creep up this left side, which is something I do in almost every medium vehicle. It's a very good place to be because it's hard to get shots on you. The terrain is uneven. It's kind of up and down. So if they are aiming at you, it's very hard to lead, especially when you're doing 65. So now that we see where they are, I can go ahead and play the 3 line here with this vehicle. And because of the new 9 gun depression, like I said, you can actually bounce some stuff. I don't bounce stuff all the time, but in a hull down position, you can actually, you know, as long as you're using your max gun depression, like I said, you guys seen it was like 300 millimeters. So if people are shooting standard shells, and I finally get that guy out of there, he basically was what was keeping them alive. Now their eyes are gone, which, you know, if you guys don't know, light tanks are more, you know, yeah, you need to get them. He could see me shooting, and I'm tracking him, and I really was hoping I could track him and artillery would hit him, and that would be it. Somebody just hit him for a big shot. I'm pretty sure it was the tank destroyer, and then somebody gets killed, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and get spotted, and I'm going to shoot him in his gun. Which I did want to mention to you guys, if you guys are going up against the Waffle, shoot it right in the gun with standard shells. You know, it is a really good, but if you're shooting heat, what I just did, you don't want to get into the habit because I could have actually bounced him and died. So, but anyway, yeah, the standard APCRs, there's a chance of breaking the Waffentractor's gun. So if you can, shoot him directly in the gun, and if you break it, he's going to have to re-aim in on you because it actually does make the reticle go huge, and it gives you the chance to put 2 shots in. So decent game, 12 pins. Like I said, not my best game, but it's my best winning game in the vehicle. I didn't actually know at the time this was going to be the one I was going to use for the review, but it did show everything. It showed how fast the vehicle is and how you can maneuver around the field. And I mean, it's really the only way you can play it. If they nerf the speed on this, I would say I wouldn't even play this vehicle. If they mess with the gun accuracy at long range, it actually right now has some bad aim time. So this is one of my better games that I had in it. Earned 100,000. You know, did 5,081. And then here's another good game. It's kind of funny because this game, I just didn't record it. I forgot to hit the record, but I did catch the, I recorded a clip of it on Xbox, and I was like, I'll get better games. But in reality, that probably would have been the game I would have used. But you can see here that I did block a shell for 240. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, this review. And of course, you know, feel free to leave a comment. And of course, please subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. And if you didn't get a chance, please go watch my grind stream, which is where I take the best games that I've had and compile them and make one video out of it, so you guys can really thoroughly see how I learned, you know, what works successfully in this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and have a good one. Later.